Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Raymond, this is Erica, and today we're going to be working on helping our emu walk.
Our previous videos, you know that we have two emus, Richard and Buckbeak, and Richard has been struggling with splayed legs since he hatched. His splayed leg has now turned into twisted leg, and now he walks with his left leg twisted, but sometimes it twists all the way backwards.
Which it doesn't appear that he's in pain, but it's obvious that it's not helping him move quickly or anything like that. So we're afraid once he gains more weight, it may end up just kind of giving out, and then we'll have to maybe even put him down. So we're going to try our best to get him up and running.
So as I've been researching and talking to other emu owners, we found out different strategies that they've tried, and nothing seems to be working. Usually by his age, they're having to euthanize their poor little baby emus. So talking to them, they've tried hobbling and they've tried keeping them immobile, where then it seems like their leg is now facing forward, but then they're not being able to balance, or they aren't strong enough then to walk afterwards. And then a couple days later, a couple weeks later, they're having to put their emus down. So we had a choice. We could either wait and see with Richard and eventually put him down, or we could try something new. So of course, we decided to try something new.
So we've tried hobbling, and every time we hobble him, he just seems to be a little depressed. He doesn't want to eat, he doesn't want to drink. Part of it's probably because of the stress of having his legs taken away. So what we're going to try now is we're going to try to build him a little emu wheelchair. So I went down to the hardware store, grabbed some PVC pipes and some connectors, and we're going to try our best to make a little wheelchair for him this afternoon. So
the idea would be to have it so his legs are dangling beneath, where he can then use his legs to push himself around, but so that he isn't putting all of his weight on his legs, and then he also isn't falling around and flailing about, possibly injuring his neck as well. So this way he'll still have some weight on his legs to strengthen his legs, but not too much weight, so that he can heal them properly. So some of the things we're going to use is we have this old car seat tray, and that we don't use anymore, so we're going to cut this down so he can sit on this, and we can hang it from the wheelchair, and this will be basically his makeshift wheelchair seat. Then we got some PVC pipes and some connectors to make the frame of it, and some wheels so he can push himself around. So of course we couldn't find any instructions on how to make an emu wheelchair, so it's just going to be all trial and error. We're just going to see what we can do and see how it comes out and see if it helps him. First off, we know we don't need any of this flap right here, so we're going to start with cutting that off. The nice thing about this is it's nice and cushy and soft, but still firm enough where it's not going to just wrap around him, but still soft enough where it's not going to hurt him. So there we go. All right, now that the excess is cut off, we're gonna bring Richard over here and measure him and see how much of this we actually need, because we don't want it to actually wrap all the way around him. We just want enough to be kind of like a sling underneath him that will connect to the base. All right, we have Richard here. Don't mind his feet. Okay. Looks like it's gonna be just the right size. We want his bottom towards the back where it slopes in, that way he's not pooping all over it. Well, now that we're looking at Richard on this, we're seeing just how big he actually is, and we might actually try to keep the flaps on. We have another one of these, and see if that'll help so that we can then wrap this around him to keep him on. Okay, now that we cut this one apart, we now realize that I think we actually want to keep one of these flaps on that we can hope that we can wrap around him to kind of keep him more secure in there. So we're actually going to then put up our second one in the new way. So we're still going to cut off these side flaps, right?
Yes.
And then we're going to keep one of these, we're just going to cut one off. Now we can set him on there and see, and we think that this actually might be the perfect size for him.
Got him?
It's okay, Richard. Press it on there, and then kind of hold up the sides to see where he's going to sit on it. As you can see, he's gotten a lot bigger since our last video. And I think that's gonna work perfect. And then we'll just use some of these buckles, these straps and buckles that came with this, and we'll use those to buckle it around him to keep him nice and secure in there. Okay, so the thing we've noticed about emus is that once they poop, they like to run and jump in it right away. So we have Richard's feet all cleaned off right now so that we can measure him and get this all set up for his size. So we're just gonna hold him the remainder of the time so he doesn't get them all dirty again.
So right now, so that this way this can hang suspended within the frame that we're building for the wheelchair, I'm gonna put a couple eyelets in here on either side, maybe about 4, so we can wrap some paracord from the sling to the frame of the wheelchair that we're gonna be building. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, out in the garage and off my countertop. All right, so I just got done putting these grommets in. For those of you who have not done grommets before, they're pretty simple. A little tool that you use to hammer through the fabric or whatever you're using, and then you use a little setting tool and this to crimp the grommet on. So it's pretty easy to do, but you have to hammer it pretty hard, so I didn't want to do it on my countertops. So it's just 2 little pieces, like a regular eyelet or something, and you crimp the ends together and it holds it in there. So we put a few in here, that way we can adjust placement depending on how he sits inside the wheelchair. So that should be sufficient, I think.
Okay. All right, so now we're gonna measure him to see exactly how big we want the top part of the frame to be. Buckbeak's going a little crazy with Richard being gone, so probably hear him in the background. All right.
Where's the other dog? So now what we're actually going to do is we're actually going to end up cutting holes in this so you can put his feet through. So we're just kind of getting an idea maybe where it's going to sit. You got him?
Yeah, I got him. Let me get that in. Got.
Yeah, I just want to see how big it is.
About 5 inches.
So 1 inch on either side.
Well, Richard completely destroyed my other outfit between ripping my shirt and pooping all over my cardigan. I had to run and change, so now we're ready to go again.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna build the top portion of the frame. So the idea is to have a larger base where the wheels will sit and then a tapered top to where the sling will be. So what we're going to do is we're going to build the top part where the sling will rest, and then from there we'll build out for the bottom frame for the wheels. That way we can kind of dial in where this is supposed to sit for him, and then we can build the height for the wheels and his legs so that he can touch the ground, but not necessarily put his full weight on his legs while they're bound. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna cut a couple of these pipes and try to make something for that so we can get it fit. 13.5, so that's 3 inches, so 16.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So his sling is 13 inches long, so we're actually gonna add about 1.5 inches on either side for the connectors of the piping for the top part of his sling. So we're gonna cut it about 16.5. Mark it.
Now does that give enough with the other pipe on? Because I was measuring at 16.
It'll add
with the
more.
pipe on. 16.5 is where you want to mark it?
Yeah, just mark it. So if you've never worked with PVC pipe, these tools are invaluable when it comes to cutting. It makes it easy. You just stretch it and cut through it. It's like a pair of scissors. So 16.5, 16.5 on this one as well. Actually, we'll just do this. Okay. Just see how it looks. Now this front pipe is just a placeholder for now so we can see what it looks like. It might be better with actual canvas or something. What do you think?
I think that's good.
So just to give you an idea, this is what it's gonna look like. So, and then this flap that we left on here,
You want to do those on the outside?
we're gonna try to use this to kind of strap it around so he can't jump out. So then from here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna finish this off, and then I think we're gonna tie this on here just to kind of see how it fits.
If we do both of these on the inside, then that'll hang over the out
Okay.
for the easy flap.
Burn the end of these paracords so they don't fray.
So this side we're having to work a bit differently since we can't go over the top since we have our flap here. We're just kind of going underneath the pipe into the grommet. And then putting it through the next grommet, and this time we'll put it over the pipe. And then, so that will be done like that. Alright, so then he has his little sling right here, and then the flap will go over, and then we can buckle him in, but this will keep it nice and soft and a little bit more secure.
Okay, so we're gonna connect to another frame. There's one for either side.
Do you mind explain that?
Yeah. So right now we're putting on 45-degree elbows because we're gonna have the lower part of the frame larger. So we're gonna try. It's gonna be kind of a two-post design here, and it's gonna go down and connect to a four-sided frame for the wheels.
We want it a little bit wider on the bottom, that way if he's trying to run, he's not kicking the bottom frame because it's going to be out a little bit further, is the idea behind this.
Never built a bird wheelchair, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Trial and error, I guess. So that's what we're gonna do. So I just gotta measure from here how far we want the bottom to be. We got little tiny wheels. They're not very tall, but we actually need to go measure Richard for his height, because that's going to determine how long the bottom beam's going to be from the hammock or from the sling. So we actually need to measure how tall he is. So when Richard stands, he's about from the ground to his chest, it's about 9 inches. So we need to have the hammock about that high to the ground. So we would measure the hammock like it would be his chest. So it needs to be, that's gonna be pretty tall. It needs to be 9 inches. We're gonna go for 9 inches right now, and if we have to adjust it, we'll just adjust it later. That's a good thing about PVC pipe, is you can just recut and redo it. I think we need paper. We need paper and a pen so we can draw.
I'm more of a do this and cut how I feel like it needs to be. He's more of a let's draw it out and do it the right way. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so after lots of drawing and calculating and figuring out all the numbers, we've decided that I have no idea what we're doing. But I think Raymond does, so we're gonna try this out.
Yeah, so the way the frame's gonna work, so we're gonna have a lot of extra clearance that we need to add for the wheels in order for his feet to be able to hit the ground when he's sagging in the sling. So there's a lot of trying to use formulas that I learned back in geometry, but it doesn't work because nothing's designed correctly for this shape. So it's gonna be a lot of cutting, a lot of trial and error, but I think I got the angled down pipe that I need. Is about 16 inches. So we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna build the rest of the frame off of that figure. So a 16 inches down pipe here, and we're just gonna put it together, and then if it works, then we'll glue it up and make it more secure. So
And if not, we cut it down a little bit more.
let's see here. So each down pipe's gonna have a 90-degree elbow here, and then a 45-degree elbow to give it a slant toward the hammock.
Okay, after measuring Richard to see where he sits in this hammock, we are now going to take these off. We're gonna take the padding out of it because it just made his legs spread too far apart. And then we're gonna cut the holes for him and see if it's the right height. So we went ahead and used the tray that we had already cut incorrectly. We used that as our template, and we measured it on him to see if it was gonna work.
So we're gonna cut a little bit.
Yes. We decided we're gonna make the holes a little bit bigger so they're not cutting into his legs. Is that good, right?
Yeah.
I'll cut the camera. Okay, now we have our holes. Actually, should. And we're going to reattach it to the wheelchair.
Yeah.
All right, looks like that might be the right height. We need to attach the wheels next. We're also short a little bit of pipe, so we're going to have to go back to the hardware store and grab another piece of pipe so we can finish off the bottom.
Yeah. So yeah, so the little caster wheel here and this rope loop. I couldn't find any U-bolts that would fit this, that would fit the width of the piping, so this works just as well. So I just take this rope loop here and just run a couple screws through, and then I go ahead and put some nuts on the back of it to tighten it on. So, and you have to kind of put these on cockeyed a little bit because obviously it's square and I'm going into alternating holes here in either corner. So I figured this will work as a prototype. If this is something that we have to do in the future, maybe we'll make it a little bit better. But this will be the first prototype and we'll see how it works. I mean, the goal was to make everything super lightweight so it can move around. Yeah, it looks a little huge, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so we finished the Emu wheelchair for now. We're gonna test it out. We added some support beams and we also added the other bottom support. And now we're gonna put Richard in and see if it works out. All right, now that we see that it looks like he's gonna be a good fit for it, we're going to go ahead and bind his legs together in the proper position. One of the other problems we've been having is that even when he's bound, he still brings his knee in, which is pushing his hip out, which is causing the problem. So we've taped together 2 pieces of semi-firm foam that we're gonna put between his knees so that he cannot push his knees in anymore. Give him proper alignment. Slowly push it into a big ball.
Okay, bud. I know.
Okay, now we're just gonna add some Velcro in here to keep him secure in there so that he's not jumping out or falling out of there. A few changes we've made for Richard's wheelchair is we added little stabilizers or kickstands so he doesn't tip over. We took off the string and added shower rings so we can take him on and off a lot easier. That way at night he's not sitting in here anymore. For his legs, we've decided to cut 1 strip of medical tape, the stretchy kind, and we cut 2 slits in it to go over his 2 outer toes, and did the same thing on the other side of it. Then we wrapped it around his ankle. Then we took another strip that just wrapped straight across his ankle, right here. Then we taped those 2 together to keep this pulled up so this inner toe isn't getting caught in the tape. When we originally tried 3 holes for that 3rd toe, he would just pull that toe out constantly. So we found this worked better. Then we took our foam block, wrapped a piece of medical tape around each ankle and onto the block. Then we taped all the way around and all the way around this way. When we originally tried to put the block between his knees, which is what we're trying to keep separated, he would just push it down because this part is so thick that it couldn't keep the medical tape on it. So after a few tries, we finally just decided to push it down where it stops onto this medical tape. And this seems to be working well. It keeps his knees separated enough and his feet parallel.
Richard's just trying to learn how to use his wheelchair, so I'm going to teach him. Go on, give me the girl. You move. Okay. 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 Take him, kill my pieces. There you go.
Can you video of your meeting?
Come on, Richard.
I can't do this.
Richard, not right.
Oh. Yeah,
Come on, Richard. Come on. Come get the
give it
heel.
to him.
The rest of it. Get it. Oh, there you go. Come get the kill, boy. Come on. Come get the kill. Come on. Here we go. Nope. Come on. So use your face to pull over.
left it.
It's on the strap.
There you go. Richard has mastered going backwards in his wheelchair, but has refused to go forwards in front of the camera. Fixing his legs in the wheelchair makes it much less stressful for Richard. We've had no problem getting him to eat or drink. This is what Richard's legs look like before the wheelchair, and this is what his legs look like after 1 week. Richard loved getting a chance to stretch his legs. After this, he'll go back in the wheelchair for another week of hobbling. Richard the Emu wants you to like, subscribe, and share.